A powerful tycoon watches his only daughter quietly waste away, while doctors declare her terminal. Then a poor boy breaks into the hospital and whispers a sentence to her father that paralyzes everyone. "Turn off the machines, she'll wake up." The order seems absurd, but something in that innocent gaze breaks logic and shakes certainties. What happens next will surprise you. If this story interested you, don't forget to subscribe to our channel and tell us what city you're watching us from. We'll keep going. The Boston skyline gleamed in the afternoon sun as Robert Blackwood stared out from the penthouse window of Massachusetts General Hospital. At 58, his salt and pepper hair and tailored Italian suit couldn't mask the exhaustion etched across his face. For 3 months, he had barely left this floor, maintaining a desperate vigil beside his 13-year-old daughter Lily's bed. "Mr. Blackwood," Dr. Nathaniel Spencer's voice pulled Robert from his thoughts. "We need to discuss Lily's latest test results." Robert's shoulders tensed. In the tech industry, he had built Blackwood Innovations from nothing into a multi-billion-dollar empire, but now his fortune seemed worthless. What good was money if it couldn't save the one person who mattered most? "Just give it to me straight, Nathaniel." The neurologist sighed, glancing at the chart in his hands. "There's no change. The coma remains profound, and her organs continue to deteriorate despite our interventions. I've consulted with specialists from Johns Hopkins and Mayo Clinic, but..." His voice trailed off. "But what?" Robert demanded. "We're running out of options. The life support is doing most of the work now." Rebecca, Robert's second wife of 2 years, placed a manicured hand on his shoulder. "Darling, perhaps we should consider what the doctor suggested last week, about making her comfortable." "No," Robert cut her off sharply. "I won't give up on her." Rebecca exchanged a look with Dr. Spencer that Robert missed, her perfect composure briefly faltering before she regained control. At 35, she was 23 years Robert's junior, a former pharmaceutical sales representative whose beauty had caught his eye at a charity gala 3 years after his first wife Carolyn's passing during childbirth. "I understand, Robert," Dr. Spencer said carefully, "but I feel obligated to prepare you for what's coming. Lily's condition is exceedingly rare. The neurological deterioration paired with systematic organ failure follows no known pattern. We've tried experimental treatments, but her body simply isn't responding." Robert turned back to the window, his reflections superimposed over the city he'd conquered in business. "I want another round of tests, different ones, something we haven't tried." "We've run everything twice," and Dr. Spencer began. "Then run them 3 times, Robert's voice echoed through the private wing. "Price is no object. Fly in anyone you need to. I don't care if they're in Tokyo or Timbuktu." The doctor nodded, though his eyes betrayed his resignation. "Of course, Mr. Blackwood." When Dr. Spencer left, Rebecca approached her husband carefully. "Robert, you need to rest. You haven't slept properly in days." "I can't leave her," he whispered, moving to Lily's bedside. The girl lay motionless, surrounded by blinking machines and tangled tubes. Her blonde hair, so like her mother's, spread across the pillow in stark contrast to her pallid skin. Just 3 months ago, she had been laughing, planning her 8th grade graduation. Now she resembled a porcelain doll, fragile and unmoving. "At least eat something," Rebecca insisted. "The chef sent over that wild-caught salmon you like." Later, his attention remained fixed on his daughter. "You should go home. Get some..." "Rest yourself." Rebecca hesitated. "Are you sure? I don't want to leave you alone." "I'm fine," he said dismissively. "Besides, someone needs to keep things running at home." When Rebecca finally departed, accompanied by one of their security detail, Robert sank into the chair beside Lily's bed. Only then did he allow his facade to crack, tears slipping silently down his weathered cheeks. "I don't know what to do. Lil," he confessed to his unconscious daughter, "I've thrown millions at this problem and nothing's changing." Outside the window, Boston continued its relentless pace. In Beacon Hill, the Blackwood mansion stood empty save for staff. The historic 5-story brownstone had once echoed with Lily's laughter, but now its elegant rooms were silent. Robert couldn't bear to sleep there while Lily remained hospitalized, so he'd converted an adjoining room in the hospital suite into a makeshift bedroom. His phone buzzed, another update from his company. Robert ignored it. Since Lily's collapse, he'd delegated most operations to his executive team, focusing solely on his daughter's recovery. A soft knock interrupted the quiet. "Mr. Blackwood?" A nurse entered, carrying a tray of medication. "It's time for Lily's evening treatment." Robert nodded, watching as the nurse methodically administered injections and adjusted IV drips. Dr. Spencer had explained each medication's purpose: anticonvulsants, immunosuppressants, experimental nerve regenerators, a complex chemical ballet designed to fight whatever mysterious ailment was consuming his daughter. "Has Dr. Richardson been by today?" Robert asked, referring to the specialist Rebecca had recommended shortly after Lily fell ill. "Yes, sir. He adjusted her medication protocol this morning while you were meeting with the hospital board." Robert frowned. He didn't recall authorizing any changes. "What adjustments?" "I believe he increased the dosage of the experimental compound," the nurse replied, checking the chart. "It's all documented here." Dr. James Richardson had become Lily's primary physician at Rebecca's insistence. As the former head of neurology at Boston Medical and a frequent consultant for pharmaceutical companies, his credentials were impeccable. Rebecca had known him professionally before meeting Robert and had vouched for his expertise when Lily first showed symptoms: unexplained fatigue, cognitive confusion, and eventually seizures that led to her current state. After the nurse left, Robert scrolled through his tablet, reviewing Lily's medical file. The technical terminology swam before his tired eyes. Despite his intelligence, he couldn't make sense of the increasingly complex treatment plan. He relied on the experts, trusted them with the most precious thing in his world. As night fell over Boston, Robert dozed fitfully in the recliner beside Lily's bed. In his dreams, Caroline appeared, her face twisted with worry, trying to tell him something he couldn't quite hear. He jolted awake, disoriented, to find Rebecca standing in the doorway. "I thought you went home," he said, straightening. "I couldn't leave you here alone," she replied, setting down a leather overnight bag. "I brought fresh clothes and had the chef prepare some meals." She approached Lily's bed, adjusting the blanket with practiced care. "Any changes?" Robert shook his head. Rebecca's expression softened with sympathy. "Dr. Richardson called me. He thinks we should consider transferring Lily to his private research facility in Vermont. He believes the mountain air and specialized equipment might help." "Vermont? That's hours away." "It's a beautiful facility, very exclusive. Only the most desperate cases, and he's had remarkable success rates." Robert hesitated, torn between hope and skepticism. "I'd want to see it first." "Of course," Rebecca said smoothly. "We could fly up tomorrow. The helicopter could get us there and back before evening." Robert looked back at Lily, searching for any sign of improvement in her still features. "I'll think about it." Rebecca nodded, squeezing his shoulder gently before retreating to the adjoining room. Robert resumed his vigil, unaware that outside the hospital, the first pieces of salvation were already moving into place, in the form of a 12-year-old boy named Joey Fletcher, whose worn sneakers carried him through the streets of South Boston with determined purpose. Joey Fletcher dribbled his makeshift soccer ball, a bundle of rags secured with duct tape, through the narrow alley behind Commonwealth Avenue. At 12, he was small for his age, with a mop of unruly brown hair and eyes that had seen too much too soon. The worn Red Sox cap he wore had been his father's, now one of the few possessions he cherished after his parents had lost their apartment following his dad's workplace injury. Home was now the Southside Community Shelter, where Joey and his parents occupied a small room meant for temporary stays that had stretched into months. His father worked odd jobs when his back permitted, while his mother cleaned offices at night. Joey contributed by collecting recyclables after school, turning in cans and bottles for deposit money that helped buy groceries. "Hey, Joey," called Marcos, one of the shelter volunteers. "Your mom said you're supposed to be doing homework, not playing around." Joey caught his homemade ball under his foot. "Almost done, Mr. M. Just taking a break." The April afternoon was unusually warm, and Joey had been cooped up all weekend studying for tests, The promise of spring made it impossible to stay indoors. He'd earned a scholarship to Boston Latin School, and maintaining his grades was non-negotiable if he wanted to keep it. 15 minutes, then back inside, Marcos warned with a smile. Joey nodded, continuing to practice his footwork. Soccer was his passion, though he'd never played on an official team. His skill came from countless hours in parks and alleys, teaching himself by watching YouTube videos on the shelter's shared computer. Kicking the ball high, Joey watched it arc over the chain-link fence, separating the alley from the grounds of a massive brownstone. He groaned. It was the third ball he'd lost this month. Without hesitation, Joey scaled the fence, dropping quietly into a perfectly manicured garden. He'd never paid much attention to the mansion before, though everyone in the neighborhood knew it belonged to some tech billionaire. Now creeping through meticulously landscaped shrubs in search of his ball, Joey marveled at the size of the property tucked behind high walls. He spotted his ball near a stone fountain and had just retrieved it when something caught his eye. A pale face watching from a second-floor window. Joey froze, expecting security to descend on him at any moment. Instead, the girl in the window, she couldn't be much older than him, pressed her palm against the glass and smiled tentatively. Joey hesitated, then raised his hand in greeting. To his surprise, the window slid open. "Are you looking for treasure?" the girl called down, her voice soft but eager. Joey glanced at his ragged ball. "Just this. Sorry for trespassing." "I don't mind," she said. "Nobody ever comes back here." "Except gardeners." She leaned forward, blonde hair spilling over the windowsill. "I'm Lily." Joey. An awkward silence followed before Lily asked, "Can you do any tricks with that?" Joey grinned, dropping the ball to his feet and demonstrating a series of moves, balancing it on his instep, bouncing it on his knees, executing a perfect rainbow kick. Lily applauded, delight brightening her face. "That's amazing," she exclaimed. "I've never seen anyone do that in person." "It's easy once you practice," Joey shrugged, though pride warmed his chest. "Don't you play sports?" Lily's smile dimmed. "I'm not allowed outside much. Daddy says it's not safe." Joey looked around at the walled garden with its state-of-the-art security cameras. "In this fortress?" "He's protective," Lily explained, "especially since Mom died. I have tutors instead of school, and most of my friends are from online classes." Joey couldn't imagine being confined to the shelter all day, no matter how luxurious the surroundings. "That sounds lonely." "It is," Lily admitted, "especially since Dad works so much. It's mostly me and Rebecca, my stepmom, but she has her own friends and activities." A rustling sound from inside the room caused Lily to glance over her shoulder. "I have to go," she whispered urgently. "My stepmother's coming." "Wait," Joey began, but Lily had already closed the window, disappearing from view. Joey stared at the empty window for a moment, before tucking his ball under his arm and climbing back over the fence. As he walked back to the shelter, he couldn't shake the image of Lily's face, eager for connection yet somehow fragile, like a bird in a gilded cage. The next day after school, Joey found himself drawn back to the mansion. He told himself he was just taking a shortcut, but his steps slowed as he approached the garden wall. He was about to continue on when he heard his name called softly. "Joey? Is that you?" Lily stood in a small side door built into the garden wall, a book clutched to her chest. "How'd you know I'd come this way?" Joey asked, surprised. "I didn't," Lily admitted. "I've been checking every few minutes since lunch. Rebecca's at her spa appointment, and the housekeeper is busy with the delivery men upstairs." She glanced around nervously before adding, "Do you want to come in just for a little while?" Joey hesitated, knowing he should head to the recycling center, but curiosity won out. He slipped through the door into a garden that seemed even more impressive from ground level, sculpted hedges, marble benches, and a small koi pond that shimmered in the afternoon light. "This is like a secret park," Joey marveled. Lily beamed. "It's my favorite place. Dad had it designed based on a garden my mom loved in England." Her expression clouded. "Though I don't remember her much." I was just a baby when she died. I'm sorry, Joey said awkwardly. Lily shrugged. It's okay. Dad says I'm just like her. She brightened again. Want to see the fish? They're Japanese. Some of them are over 50 years old. The next hour passed in a blur as Lily showed Joey around the garden, chattering about the plants and statues with the enthusiasm of a museum docent. Joey was surprised to discover how easy she was to talk to, despite their different backgrounds. She wasn't at all what he'd expected from someone who lived in a mansion. So what's it like, going to a real school? Lily asked as they sat on a stone bench, sharing the sandwich Lily had smuggled from the kitchen. Loud, crowded, sometimes boring, Joey admitted. But mostly good. I like learning things, especially science. Me too, Lily exclaimed. I'm doing an advanced biology curriculum. My tutor says I could probably skip ahead to high school level next year. As they talked, Joey noticed how Lily occasionally lost her train of thought or searched for words that seemed to elude her. When he mentioned it, she frowned. It's been happening a lot lately. Dad thinks it's just stress or growing pains. Rebecca says I study too hard. Maybe you need more fresh air and soccer, Joey suggested, demonstrating a toe tap with his ball. Lily laughed, attempting to mimic him but nearly tripping. Joey caught her arm, steadying her. Whoa, careful. Sorry, she said, her cheeks flushing. I've been kind of clumsy lately too. Rebecca says I'm going through an awkward phase. A chime from Lily's pocket interrupted them. She pulled out a sleek phone, alarm crossing her face. That's Rebecca's car at the gate. You have to go. She can't find you here. Joey gathered, his ball heading for the side door. Will you be here tomorrow? I have a doctor's appointment, but maybe the day after, around 4. Joey nodded, slipping through the door. It's a date. Over the next 2 weeks, their friendship blossomed in stolen moments. Joey visited whenever he could between school and his recycling routes, and Lily always seemed to be watching for him, ready with snacks and stories about her online classes or books she was reading. Joey taught her soccer basics, delighting in her determination despite her increasing coordination problems. Lily shared her extensive knowledge of plants and helped Joey with his literature homework. They crafted elaborate stories about the koi fish, giving each one a name and personality. For a few precious hours at a time, both escaped the constraints of their very different lives. During their 5th meeting, Joey noticed Lily seemed particularly tired, dark circles shadowing her eyes. Are you feeling okay? He asked as she stumbled again during their impromptu soccer lesson. Lily sank onto a bench, rubbing her temples. Just headaches, and I'm always so tired lately. Maybe you should tell your dad, Joey suggested, sitting beside her. I did, Lily sighed. He took me to a specialist. Dr. Richardson says it's probably just a virus, but they're running tests. That's why I'm home today instead of at my piano lesson. She attempted a smile. Rebecca's been giving me these health shakes that Dr. Richardson recommended, but they taste awful. Joey frowned. How long have you been feeling bad? A couple of months, I guess. It comes and goes. Lily's eyes suddenly widened. Joey, look. She pointed toward the flower bed, where a monarch butterfly had landed on a purple coneflower, its orange wings pulsing slowly in the sunshine. It's the first one I've seen this year, Lily whispered, her face lighting up. Joey watched her, more than the butterfly, troubled by the contrast between her enthusiasm and her obvious fatigue. Something didn't seem right. But before he could say more, Lily swayed slightly, pressing her hand to her forehead. Lily. I just got really dizzy, she murmured. Maybe I should go lie down. Joey helped her to the side door, worry gnawing at his stomach. Promise you'll tell your dad how bad you're feeling? I promise, Lily said, squeezing his hand. Same time. On Thursday. But Thursday came and Lily didn't appear at the garden door, nor the next day or the day after. Joey lingered by the wall each afternoon, hoping to catch a glimpse of his friend, but the house remained silent, with blinds drawn over all the windows. Nearly a week later, Joey overheard 2 women talking at the bus stop near the shelter. Blackwood's daughter collapsed right in her tutor's arms, They say she's at Mass General in some kind of coma. Joey felt his blood run cold. Lily was in trouble, and somehow he knew it wasn't just any virus. Massachusetts General Hospital loomed before Joey like a mountain as he stood across the street clutching his backpack straps. 3 weeks had passed since he'd last seen Lily. 3 weeks of worry, of nightmares, of piecing together fragments of information from overheard conversations and newspaper headlines about the Blackwood heiress's mysterious illness. "You can do this," he whispered to himself, summoning courage. Getting inside wasn't the problem. The hospital's public areas were accessible to anyone. Finding Lily in the massive complex was the challenge. Joey had skipped his afternoon classes, telling his math teacher he had a dentist appointment. His parents would be upset if they found out, but he couldn't shake the feeling that Lily needed him. The main lobby buzzed with activity as Joey slipped inside, trying to look like he belonged. A volunteer at the information desk was helping an elderly couple, giving Joey the opportunity to study the directory. The problem was, he didn't know where to look. Private patients like Lily wouldn't be listed on public directories. Joey noticed a delivery person dropping off a bouquet at the desk. As the florist left, Joey caught sight of a clipboard with delivery information. He casually moved closer, pretending to tie his shoe while scanning the list upside down. His heart jumped. L. Blackwood, Neurology, West Wing, Suite 1142. Taking a deep breath, Joey headed for the elevators. He pressed the button for the 11th floor, his stomach knotting as the doors closed. The elevator was crowded with doctors and visitors who paid no attention to a kid in a Red Sox cap and faded Boston Latin sweatshirt. The doors opened onto a hushed corridor with plush carpeting and muted lighting, clearly not a standard hospital floor. A sign indicated he had entered the VIP wing. Joey walked purposefully, as if he knew exactly where he was going, passing a nurse's station where staff were focused on computer screens. Suite 1142 was at the end of the hall, guarded by a broad-shouldered security officer who sat on a chair outside, scrolling through his phone. Joey hesitated, his plan faltering. He couldn't just walk past security. Ducking into a supply closet, Joey considered his options. As he stood thinking, the door opened and a hospital worker entered, startled to find someone inside. "Sorry," Joey stammered. "I got lost looking for the bathroom." The woman pointed him toward the public restrooms, and Joey thanked her, an idea forming. He made his way to the cafeteria on the ground floor, purchasing a small bouquet of daisies from the gift shop with money saved from his recycling work. Returning to the 11th floor, Joey now carried the flowers and a card he'd quickly filled. "Out, get well soon, Lily, from your classmates at Boston Academy." He'd heard Lily mention the exclusive private school during one of their conversations, the one her father wanted her to attend once she finished with tutors. This time, Joey approached the security guard directly. "Excuse me, sir," he said, politely. "I'm delivering these to Lily Blackwood from her classmates." The guard looked him over. "ID badge?" Joey's heart sank, but he maintained his composure. "I don't work for the hospital. Mrs. Peterson from Boston Academy asked me to drop these off since my mom works here." The lie came smoothly, born of desperation. The guard seemed to waver, glancing at the innocent bouquet and the earnest-looking boy. "Please," Joey added. "Her classmates really miss her." Something in Joey's expression must have convinced him. "Fine, but make it quick." Her father stepped out for a business call and the stepmom's at some charity thing. Nurses inside, though. Joey nodded gratefully, his pulse racing as the guard knocked on the door. A nurse opened it, and the guard explained about the delivery. The nurse, looking harried, waved Joey in. "Just set them on the side table. I need to get some supplies from the cart down the hall. Don't touch anything, and don't wake her if she's sleeping." Joey nodded, stepping into the room as the nurse hurried out. The opulent suite bore little resemblance to a hospital room despite the medical equipment. Designer furniture, artwork, and a wall of windows overlooking Boston created the atmosphere of a luxury hotel. And there, in the center of it all, lay Lily. Joey's throat tightened at the sight of his friend. Lily looked impossibly small amidst the tangle of tubes and wires. Her skin had a grayish cast, and her blonde hair lay limp against the pillow. Monitors beeped steadily, tracking vital signs that meant nothing to Joey but suggested a life hanging by technological threads. "Lily?" he whispered, approaching the bed. There was no response, not even a flicker of her eyelids. Joey set down the flowers and reached for her hand, shocked at how cold it felt. "It's me, Joey. I don't know if you can hear me, but I've been really worried about you." The only sound was the rhythmic beeping of machines. Joey continued, his voice breaking slightly. "The garden misses you. I checked on it yesterday, snuck in the same way as before. The butterfly bush is starting to bloom, and I saw 2 monarchs. Remember when you said they were your favorites?" Still nothing. Joey swallowed hard. "The koi are okay too. I even remembered their names: Emperor, Sunset, and Freckles." He attempted a smile. "Freckles still comes right up to the edge when you approach, just like you showed me." Joey fell silent, watching Lily's chest rise and fall with mechanical precision. This wasn't how it happened in movies, where coma patients magically woke at the sound of a loved one's voice. Reality was crueler, more mundane in its persistence. "What happened to you, Lily?" he murmured. "You were fine. And then—" The sound of voices approaching in the hallway made Joey freeze. He recognized one immediately. Rebecca Blackwood's cultured tones rising and falling in conversation with a man. Joey looked frantically for a hiding place, finally ducking behind a tall privacy screen in the corner just as the door opened. "I'm telling you, James, Robert is getting suspicious. He's questioning everything now. The medication changes, the Vermont facility, all of it." Rebecca's voice was tense, all trace of the sympathetic stepmother gone. "Calm down," the man, presumably Dr. Richardson, replied. "Robert is grasping at straws because conventional medicine is failing his precious daughter. He'll come around to the Vermont option once he sees this week's deterioration." Joey peered through a crack in the screen panels, watching as a tall man in a white coat checked Lily's vitals while Rebecca paced nervously. "And if he doesn't?" she demanded. "If he brings in more specialists, someone's bound to notice eventually." Dr. Richardson smiled coldly. "Notice what? That we're treating an unprecedented neurological condition with experimental protocols. Everything we're doing is documented and justified in her chart. The compounds are undetectable after 48 hours, which is why we maintain the regimen." Joey's blood ran cold as he struggled to understand what he was hearing. "What about the trust?" Rebecca asked, lowering her voice. "Have you made progress with the paperwork?" "Almost there," Dr. Richardson replied, adjusting something on Lily's IV. "Once we have medical power of attorney transferred to you, we can move her to the private facility. After that, it's just a matter of time before nature takes its course." "And the money?" "As her legal guardian following Robert's unfortunate breakdown, you'll control everything until she turns 25. If she doesn't make it to 25, he shrugged meaningfully. "Don't say it out loud," Rebecca hissed. "Just make sure no one can trace anything back to us." "Please," Dr. Richardson scoffed. "I've been causing natural deterioration in patients for years when families wanted accelerated inheritances. No one's ever suspected." Joey's hand flew to his mouth to stifle a gasp. They were poisoning Lily had been all along to get her inheritance. The health shakes she'd complained about, the increasing symptoms, the coordination problems. It all made horrifying sense now. "Here's today's dose," Dr. Richardson said, removing a vial from his pocket. "This goes into her central line, not the regular IV. It'll cause further deterioration of cognitive function, making her case seem even more hopeless to Robert." Rebecca took the vial, studying it. "And there's really no antidote? If Robert somehow agreed to include me in the will directly, we could potentially let her recover." The doctor laughed. "At this point, the damage is extensive. She might survive without further doses, but she'd likely have permanent neurological impairment. Besides, your prenup specifically excluded you from direct inheritance. The only way you get the Blackwood billions is through Lily." "I've worked too hard to settle for less," Rebecca said coldly, approaching Lily's IV line. 2 years playing, the devoted wife to that workaholic, listening to endless stories about his precious Caroline. and their perfect daughter. I deserve every penny. Joey watched in horror as Rebecca prepared to inject the contents of the vial into Lily's central line. His mind raced. He had to do something, had to stop them. Without thinking, he lunged from behind the screen. "Get away from her," he shouted. Rebecca and Dr. Richardson spun around, shock registering on their faces. "Who the hell are you?" Rebecca demanded, quickly pocketing the vial. "How did you get in here?" "I'm Lily's friend," Joey said, his voice steadier than he felt. "And I heard everything. I know what you're doing to her." Dr. Richardson recovered quickly, his expression shifting to professional concern. "Young man, I don't know what you think you heard, but this is a seriously ill patient requiring specialized medical care. You need to leave immediately before I call security." "Go ahead," Joey challenged even as fear coursed through him. "Call them. I'll tell them how you're poisoning Lily to steal her money. I'll tell Mr. Blackwood too." A dangerous glint appeared in Rebecca's eyes. No one would believe a trespassing child over a respected neurologist and the patient's stepmother, particularly not a child who clearly doesn't belong in this hospital wing. "It doesn't matter if they believe me," Joey bluffed. "They'll investigate. They'll test Lily for whatever you've been giving her." Dr. Richardson stepped toward Joey, his friendly doctor persona completely gone. "The compounds I use metabolize quickly and mimic natural disease processes. No standard test would detect them." "James," Rebecca warned, glancing nervously at the door. "Not here." Joey backed toward the door, realizing the danger he was in. These people had been slowly killing Lily for money. They wouldn't hesitate to harm him too. "I'm leaving," Joey said, reaching for the door handle. "But I'm telling Mr. Blackwood everything." "I don't think so," Dr. Richardson said, moving with surprising speed to block the door. "Rebecca, call security. Tell them we caught a thief trying to steal medication." Rebecca reached for the phone, a cruel smile playing on her lips. With his background, who would believe him over us? Joey's eyes darted around the room, looking for another escape route. The windows were sealed shut, and the only door was blocked by the doctor. Then, his gaze fell on Lily, so vulnerable in her bed, fighting for her life while these monsters plotted her demise. In that moment, Joey made a decision. He might not be able to escape, but he could still save Lily. "Wait," Joey said, raising his hands. "Before you call security, you should know I'm not the only one who knows." It was a desperate lie, but Joey maintained eye contact with Rebecca, whose finger hovered over the call button. "What are you talking about?" Dr. Richardson demanded. "I recorded everything you just said," Joey continued, tapping his backpack, "and it's already uploaded to cloud storage. If I don't check in with my friend in 20 minutes, he'll send it to the police and Mr. Blackwood." Rebecca's eyes narrowed. "You're bluffing." Joey shrugged with forced nonchalance, though his heart hammered against his ribs. "Maybe. Want to risk it?" "The recording has everything. The experimental compounds, the trust paperwork, planning Mr. Blackwood's breakdown, all of it." Dr. Richardson and Rebecca exchanged glances, their confidence visibly wavering. "Let me search his backpack," Dr. Richardson said, advancing toward Joey. Joey clutched his bag tighter. "Touch me, and it's assault of a minor. That'll bring cops here faster than any security guard." The standoff stretched for several tense seconds before Rebecca lowered the phone. "What do you want? Money?" "I want to help Lily," Joey replied, his voice cracking slightly. "You're going to tell me exactly what you've been giving her and how to reverse it." Dr. Richardson laughed harshly. "There is no simple antidote, boy. The compound works by mimicking degenerative neurological disorders. It builds up in the system over time." "Then stop giving it to her," Joey insisted. "Let her recover on her own." "Not so simple," the doctor said, almost clinically. "At this point, her dependency on life support is real. We'd need to wean her off gradually, and even then, recovery isn't guaranteed." Joey felt sick. These people had methodically poisoned his friend to the brink of destruction, and now they stood discussing her condition as if she were a failed experiment. "Here's what's going to happen," Joey said, surprised at his own boldness. You're going to step away from Lily. You're going to leave this room and you're never going to come near her again. Rebecca's perfect features contorted with rage. You insignificant little... Rebecca, Dr. Richardson interrupted smoothly. Perhaps we should consider the boy's proposal, at least temporarily. Are you serious? She hissed. Think strategically, he murmured. We need time to address this complication properly. Joey didn't like the calculating look in the doctor's eyes, but he pressed his advantage. I want the vial too, the one with today's dose. After a moment's hesitation, Rebecca retrieved the vial from her pocket and placed it on a side table, careful not to approach Joey directly. This isn't over, she warned, her voice venomous. For today it is, Joey countered. Now go. Rebecca gathered her designer handbag, casting one last hateful glance at Joey before sweeping from the room. Dr. Richardson lingered, his professional demeanor firmly back in place. You've made a serious miscalculation, young man, he said quietly. You have no idea who you're dealing with. I know exactly who I'm dealing with, Joey replied. You hurt my friend for money. That makes you the worst kind of person. Something dangerous flashed in the doctor's eyes before he composed himself. We'll continue this discussion soon. With that ominous promise, he followed Rebecca out. As soon as they left, Joey's bravado collapsed. He sagged against the wall, trembling with reaction. He'd bought himself time, but that was all. They would regroup, counter his bluff, perhaps return with hospital security and a plausible story about a troubled boy harassing their patient. Joey approached Lily's bed, tears welling in his eyes. I'm sorry I couldn't do more, he whispered, but I'm not giving up on you. He examined the machines surrounding Lily, overwhelmed by their complexity. Each monitor displayed vital signs, each IV pump delivered medications. How could he possibly know which were helping and which were hurting her? The vial on the table drew his attention. Without touching it, Joey used his phone to take photos from multiple angles, capturing the label with its scientific nomenclature and dosage information, evidence if he could find someone to believe him. A sudden thought struck him. Mr. Blackwood, Lily's father, was the one person who might listen, who had the power to protect her. But how could Joey reach him? And would a billionaire believe a kid from a homeless shelter over his wife and his daughter's doctor? Joey didn't have time to formulate a plan. The door opened and a nurse different from the one before entered, surprise registering on her face. Who are you? Visitors aren't allowed without family present. I'm Lily's friend, Joey stammered. The guard let me bring flowers. He gestured toward the forgotten daisies. The nurse frowned. Well, visiting hours are over. You need to leave now. Joey nodded, reluctantly moving toward the door, his mind racing. As he reached the threshold, he turned back. Miss, is Mr. Blackwood coming back soon? He's at a board meeting until 5, she replied, already checking Lily's vitals. Why? No reason, Joey murmured, slipping into the corridor. The security guard had been replaced by a different man who barely glanced at Joey as he left. Joey made his way to the elevator, his thoughts tumultuous. He had about 3 hours before Mr. Blackwood returned, 3 hours to figure out how to save Lily. Outside the hospital, Joey found a quiet corner in a nearby park and pulled out his phone. He wasn't a medical expert, but he knew someone who might help. Ms. Patel, his science teacher, who had worked in pharmaceutical research before teaching. Joey hesitated only briefly before calling the number from the class contact sheet. Mrs. Patel? It's Joey Fletcher. I'm sorry to bother you, but I need help. It's an emergency. To her credit, Ms. Patel listened without interruption as Joey explained the situation, leaving out names but emphasizing the urgency. Joey, she said when he finished, these are extremely serious allegations. If what you're saying is true, we need to contact authorities immediately. But I don't have proof, Joey argued, just what I overheard. And they're powerful people, a doctor and a rich woman. Who would believe me? Miss Patel was silent for a moment. Send me the photos of the vial. I still have contacts in toxicology who might identify the compound. And Joey, be careful. If these people are doing what you suspect, they're dangerous. After sending the photos, Joey sat on a park bench, watching the entrance to Massachusetts General. His phone battery was at 15%, and the afternoon shadows were lengthening. He couldn't go back to Lily's room without risking encounter with Rebecca or Dr. Richardson, but he couldn't leave her unprotected either. At 4:30, Joey's phone vibrated with a text from Ms. Patel. Compound appears to be modified neurotoxin with sedative properties. Dangerous, not approved for human use. Used in some experimental treatments, but highly controversial. Going to make some calls. Stay away from these people, Joey. Joey's suspicions were confirmed, but the warning came too late. He had already decided to return to the hospital. He had to reach Mr. Blackwood before Rebecca and Dr. Richardson could regroup or administer more poison to Lily. As Joey approached the hospital entrance, he spotted a familiar figure emerging from a sleek black Bentley, Robert Blackwood himself, accompanied by what appeared to be business associates. Joey quickened his pace, weaving through departing visitors. "Mr. Blackwood," he called, dodging a hospital security officer who had started toward him. "Mr. Blackwood, please, it's about Lily." Robert turned, surprise and then annoyance crossing. His features as a disheveled boy in a Red Sox cap rushed toward him. His security detail moved to intercept Joey. "Sir, please," Joey gasped as a guard caught his arm. "Your wife is poisoning Lily, I have proof." Something in Joey's desperate expression must have penetrated Robert's composure. He raised a hand, stopping his security team. "What did you say about my daughter?" he asked, his voice dangerously quiet. "Your wife and Dr. Richardson are poisoning her," Joey repeated, breathless. "I heard them talking. They want her inheritance. They've been making her sick on purpose." Disbelief, anger, and then a flicker of something else, doubt, crossed Robert's face. "That's a very serious accusation, young man." "I know," Joey acknowledged. "But I'm Lily's friend. I used to visit her in your garden. Ask her about Emperor Sunset and Freckles, the koi fish. She'll tell you, if she wakes up." Robert studied Joey intently, the professional mask slipping, to reveal the anguished father beneath. "Security, escort this young man to my daughter's suite discreetly." To Joey he added, "I want to hear everything. But if you're wasting my time or playing some kind of twisted prank—" "I'm not," Joey promised. "I would never hurt Lily." The next 20 minutes were a blur as Joey was escorted through service corridors to avoid the main hospital thoroughfares. Robert dismissed his business associates and followed separately, his face grim with concentration. In a small consultation room adjacent to Lily's suite, Joey recounted everything: how he'd met Lily, their friendship, her gradual illness, and finally, the damning conversation he'd overheard between Rebecca and Dr. Richardson. "I took pictures of the vial they were going to give her," Joey explained, showing Robert his phone. "My science teacher says it's some kind of neurotoxin." Robert's expression had grown increasingly thunderous throughout Joey's account. Now he sat in tightly controlled fury examining the photos. "And you say this has been happening for months, starting with health shakes?" Joey nodded. "Lily said they tasted terrible, but Rebecca insisted they were good for her." Robert closed his eyes briefly, as if gathering strength. "Lily started complaining about those shakes shortly after Rebecca recommended Dr. Richardson. I thought she was just being a typical teenager resistant to health foods." Self-recrimination laced his words. "It's not your fault," Joey said quietly. "They were really careful. Dr. Richardson said the poison mimics natural diseases and disappears from the system quickly." Robert's eyes snapped open. "But not if we test for it now before they administer more." He stood abruptly, pulling out his phone. "I'm calling the hospital administration and my private security team. I want samples taken immediately and Dr. Richardson's credentials investigated thoroughly." As Robert made calls, pacing the small room, Joey felt relief wash over him. Finally, someone with power believed him. Lily would get help. "Stay here," Robert instructed when he finished. "Hospital security will be stationed outside. I need to speak with my daughter's current medical team, the ones not involved with Richardson." "What about Rebecca?" Joey asked anxiously. "She might come back." "My head of security is locating her now," Robert said grimly. "She won't get anywhere near Lily again." After Robert left, Joey sat alone in the consultation room. Exhaustion, suddenly overwhelming him. He'd skipped lunch and the adrenaline that had carried him through the afternoon was waning. Her kind nurse brought him a sandwich and juice, which he devoured gratefully. An hour passed, then 2. Joey dozed fitfully in the uncomfortable chair, jolting awake at every sound from the corridor. Night had fallen, the windows reflecting the room's fluorescent lighting rather than showing the darkened Boston skyline. Finally, the door opened. Robert Blackwood entered, looking 10 years older than he had that afternoon. "You were right," he said simply, his voice hollow with shock and rage. "Initial toxicology found traces of several compounds that have no place in Lily's treatment. They're running more comprehensive panels now." He sank into a chair. "I've spent millions on specialists, cutting-edge treatments, all while my own wife was poisoning my daughter under my roof." Joey didn't know what to say. No words could ease that betrayal. "How did you know?" Robert asked suddenly. "What made you suspect?" "Lily was my friend," Joey said simply. "She was getting better. When we played in the garden, but worse after her treatments. It didn't make sense." Robert studied the boy before him. Worn clothes, scuffed sneakers, a backpack patched with duct tape, and saw something he recognized, the same fierce determination that had driven him from a working-class neighborhood to billionaire status. "You risked a lot coming here today," Robert observed. "Those people could have hurt you." Joey shrugged. "Lily would have done the same for me." A commotion erupted in the hallway, raised voices, the thud of hurried footsteps. Robert rose quickly, moving to the door just as a security officer appeared. "Sir," the guard said urgently, "you need to come quickly. It's your daughter. Something's happening." Robert sprinted down the corridor with Joey close behind, ignoring the protests of hospital staff. They burst into Lily's suite to find a team of medical personnel surrounding her bed, their movements urgent but controlled. Alarms blared from multiple monitors as a doctor barked orders. "What's happening?" Robert demanded, his voice cutting through the chaos. Dr. Spencer turned, his expression grim. "Her vitals are crashing, blood pressure's dropping, and she's showing signs of system failure." Could it be from the compounds we found?" Robert asked, the color draining from his face. "Possible," Dr. Spencer replied, "or withdrawal from them. We've taken her off all medications except life support, but her body could be reacting to the sudden change." Joey pushed forward, his eyes fixed on Lily's pale face amidst the medical team. "Or they gave her something else," he said, before they left. "Something timed to make her worse." Dr. Spencer glanced at the boy, then back to Robert questioningly. "Listen to him," Robert commanded. "This is the young man who uncovered the poisoning." The doctor nodded briskly. "What do you mean, something else?" Dr. Richardson kept saying the compound was undetectable after 48 hours. Joey explained, the words tumbling out. "What if they gave her something with a delayed reaction, something to make her worse if anyone discovered what they were doing?" A new voice joined the conversation, a woman in a lab coat who had been examining Lily's central line. "The boy might be right. Look at this residue around the port. It's crystalline, not like normal medication precipitate." Dr. Spencer moved to examine it, his expression darkening. "I want a full toxicology panel stat, and get Dr. Levine from poison control up here immediately." As the medical team worked, Robert placed a hand on Joey's shoulder, steering him toward a corner of the room. "You should go home, Joey. Your parents must be worried sick." Joey shook his head stubbornly. "I can't leave her, not now." "This could take hours, maybe days," Robert said gently, "and it's going to get worse before it gets better." "Then I'll stay for hours," Joey insisted. "I promised Lily I wouldn't give up on her." Robert studied the boy's determined face, recognizing the same loyalty that had driven Joey to risk everything by coming to the hospital in the first place. "At least call your parents," Robert compromised. "Let them know where you are." Joey nodded reluctantly, stepping into the hallway to make the call. His mother answered on the first ring, her voice tight with worry. Joey explained as best he could without revealing the full danger he'd placed himself in, saying only that he'd made friends with a sick girl at the hospital and wanted to stay with her during a crisis. To his surprise, his mother didn't immediately demand he come home. Instead, after a thoughtful pause, she asked for the name of the patient. Lily Blackwood, Joey admitted. Her dad's here too. Another silence. Robert Blackwood's daughter. Joey, how did you get mixed up with... Never mind. Put her father on. The phone, please. Confused, Joey returned to the suite and handed his phone to Robert. My mom wants to talk to you. Robert took the phone, his eyebrows raised in surprise. This is Robert Blackwood. Joey couldn't hear his mother's side of the conversation, but Robert's expression shifted from confusion to shock. Maria Fletcher? From Boston General's NICU? Robert listened intently. I had no idea. Yes, of course I remember. Caroline. Would have been lost without you. Yes, he can stay as long as needed. I'll ensure he's taken care of. Thank you, truly. When Robert returned the phone, his eyes held new respect. Your mother was my first wife's primary nurse in the neonatal unit. She helped care for Lily when she was born prematurely. Stayed. With Caroline when... He faltered. When complications arose, your mother was a tremendous comfort to our family during that time. Joey blinked in surprise. His mother rarely spoke about specific patients from her nursing days before her back injury forced a career change to administrative work. Small world, Joey managed, unsure what else to say. Indeed, Robert agreed, a hint of something like fate crossing his features. She's given permission for you to stay with the condition that you get some proper food and rest. Before Joey could respond, Dr. Spencer approached, his face tight with urgency. Robert, we need to make some decisions quickly. Lily's system is shutting down from what appears to be a cocktail of toxins. Time to release gradually. Dr. Levine believes it's a modified compound designed to mimic complete neurological failure. Can you counteract it? Robert asked, his voice hollow. We can try supportive measures, but the most direct approach would be to clear her system entirely, essentially a rapid detoxification. The problem is it's extraordinarily risky. What kind of risk? Dr. Spencer hesitated. We'd need to temporarily take her off life support, flush her system, then restart. Given her weakened state, there's a significant chance she wouldn't survive the procedure. Robert paled. And if we don't do it? The toxins will continue to accumulate. She might last 48 hours, maybe less. Joey, who had been listening intently, stepped forward. What if you only disconnected some of the machines, just the ones giving medications? Both men turned to him in surprise. The IV medications, yes, but she needs the ventilator, Dr. Spencer explained gently. Her respiratory function is too compromised. But what if it's not? Joey persisted. What if the medications are making her seem worse than she is, keeping her dependent? Dr. Spencer frowned. What are you suggesting? Lily was getting better when we played in the garden, Joey explained. She got tired easily and had headaches, but she could walk and talk. Then after her treatments, she got worse. What if the machines are part of the problem now? Dr. Levine, who had joined them, looked thoughtful. The boy might have a point. We've seen cases where patients become paradoxically dependent on certain treatments, and if these compounds were designed to mimic symptoms requiring life support, you're suggesting we take her off everything? Robert asked incredulously. Not everything, Dr. Levine clarified, but perhaps a more measured approach than full life support. Reduce external dependencies and see if her natural functions begin to recover once the suppressants clear her system. Dr. Spencer shook his head. It goes against all standard protocols for a patient in her condition. Her condition was artificially induced, Robert pointed out, a desperate edge to his voice. Nothing about this case follows standard protocols. The doctors exchanged glances, years of medical training warring with the unprecedented situation before them. Let me consult with the neurology team, Dr. Spencer said finally. We'll develop a modified approach, perhaps a gradual weaning, rather than complete removal. But Robert, you need to understand the risks. I understand that my daughter is fighting for her life because people I trusted poisoned her, Robert replied, steel entering his voice. Conventional approaches haven't helped her. Maybe it's time for unconventional ones. As the doctors left to consult with specialists, Robert sank into a chair beside Lily's bed, taking her limp hand in his. Joey stood awkwardly nearby, uncertain whether to stay or give the father privacy. "She looks like her mother," Robert said softly, answering Joey's unspoken question. "Same determination too. When Lily sets her mind to something, nothing stops her." "I noticed," Joey said with a small smile. "She kept trying soccer moves even when she could barely stand up straight." Robert looked up, a glimmer of warmth breaking through his anguish. "She never mentioned you, though I suppose that was deliberate given Rebecca's restrictions." "She wasn't allowed to have friends over," Joey confirmed. "I think she was lonely." "I thought I was protecting her," Robert admitted, his voice heavy with regret. "After Caroline died, I became obsessed with keeping Lily safe. Instead, I created an isolated world where the greatest danger came from inside our home." Before Joey could respond, the medical team returned, now accompanied by additional specialists. Dr. Spencer stepped forward. "We've developed a modified approach. We'll begin by removing the sedatives and paralytics, then gradually reduce ventilator support while monitoring her brain activity closely. If she shows any signs of autonomous respiratory function, we'll continue weaning her from the machines. And if she doesn't," Robert asked, "then we'll know this approach isn't working and we can reevaluate," Dr. Spencer answered diplomatically. The next hour passed in tense silence as medications were systematically withdrawn. Monitors were adjusted, alarms temporarily silenced as baseline readings shifted. Joey and Robert remained in the corner of the room, Robert occasionally answering urgent business calls in hushed tones, while Joey dozed fitfully in his chair. A sudden change in the rhythm of beeping jolted them both to attention. Dr. Spencer moved quickly to Lily's bedside, studying the monitors with intense focus. "What is it?" Robert demanded, rising from his chair. "Brain activity is increasing," the doctor reported, his voice carefully neutral. "Could be a stress response to the medication changes or she's waking up," Joey finished, hope surging through him. "Let's not get ahead of ourselves," Dr. Spencer cautioned. "But yes, it's a positive sign. We're going to reduce ventilator support now and see how she responds." The next adjustment provoked an immediate reaction, alarms blaring as Lily's oxygen levels dipped. The medical team tensed, hands hovering over emergency medications. But before they could intervene, the numbers stabilized, then slowly began to rise. "She's initiating breaths," a respiratory therapist announced, surprise evident in her voice. "Shallow but definite patient triggers." Dr. Spencer's professional demeanor cracked slightly, revealing cautious optimism. "Continue weaning, slowly. Let's see if she can sustain this." Robert moved to Lily's side, grasping her hand tightly. "Fight, sweetheart," he whispered. "You can do this." Joey hung back, his throat tight with emotion as he watched the father and daughter. Though conscious thought told him Lily couldn't possibly hear, something deeper insisted she knew her father was there, was responding to his voice. Over the next several hours, Lily's condition continued to improve incrementally. Ventilator support was reduced to minimal settings, and brain activity maintained its upward trend. By midnight, Dr. Spencer made a stunning announcement. "I think we can attempt extubation," he said, his earlier skepticism replaced by guarded hope. "Her gag reflex is returning, and she's fighting the ventilator rather than depending on it." "Will it hurt her?" Robert asked anxiously. "It's uncomfortable but not painful," Dr. Spencer assured him, "and if she's not ready, we can re-intubate immediately." Robert nodded his consent, and Joey watched from his corner as the medical team prepared for the procedure. "You might want to step out for this," a nurse suggested kindly to Joey. Joey shook his head. "I'll stay if that's okay." He looked to Robert, who nodded distractedly, his attention fixed on his daughter. The removal of the breathing tube was swift but tense, followed by anxious seconds as everyone watched for Lily's reaction. Her chest rose and fell unevenly at first, oxygen levels wavering on the monitor, before settling into a steady, if shallow, rhythm. "Good job, Lily," Dr. Spencer encouraged, listening to her lungs with his stethoscope. "Keep breathing for us." Whether in response to his voice or by coincidence, Lily's next breath was deeper, more confident. A collective exhale seemed to pass through the room as the medical team exchanged relieved glances. "This is remarkable," Dr. Levine murmured. "The level of recovery after such extensive poisoning." "She's not out of danger," Dr. Spencer cautioned. "We still have toxins to clear and potential neurological damage to assess, but this is an extremely promising sign." As the night deepened, most of the medical team dispersed, leaving a single nurse to monitor Lily's condition. Robert had fallen asleep in his chair, exhaustion finally claiming him after the emotional roller coaster of the day. Joey fought to keep his eyes open, determined to witness every moment of Lily's recovery. The nurse noticed his struggle. "There's a recliner in the corner that converts to a bed," she offered quietly. "You should get some real rest." Joey nodded gratefully, moving to the indicated chair. As he settled in, a soft sound drew his attention back to Lily's bed. It might have been a sigh or a moan, barely audible but distinctly human rather than mechanical. Joey approached cautiously, afraid to hope. "Lily?" he whispered. For a moment, nothing happened. Then, almost imperceptibly, Lily's fingers twitched against the sheet. Joey held his breath, watching intently. The movement came again, more deliberate this time. "Nurse," Joey called softly. Unwilling to wake Robert unnecessarily if he was mistaken, "I think she moved her hand." The nurse came quickly, checking vital signs and pupil responses with practiced efficiency. "Good catch," she said, her professional calm belied by the excitement in her eyes. "Her reflexes are improving significantly." She moved to wake Robert, but before she could reach him, Lily's eyelids fluttered. Joey froze, afraid to breathe lest he somehow interrupt this miracle. The flutter came again, followed by a faint furrow of her brow, the first facial expression Joey had seen since entering her hospital room. "Lily?" he whispered again, moving closer. "It's Joey. You're safe now." Her eyes opened slowly, unfocused at first, then gradually sharpening as they settled on his face. Recognition dawned, followed by confusion, then what appeared to be relief. Her lips parted, forming words without sound. "Don't try to talk yet," Joey urged, signaling frantically to the nurse. "Just rest." But Lily was Lily, stubborn even, at the edge of oblivion. Her hand moved again, fingers stretching toward him. Joey carefully took her hand, feeling a weak squeeze in response. "Joey," she managed, the word barely audible, her voice raw from the breathing tube. The nurse was checking monitors, paging Dr. Spencer, adjusting oxygen flow, but Joey noticed none of it. All he could see was Lily, awake and alive, saying his name like it was the only word that mattered. Robert Blackwood awoke with a start, momentarily disoriented by the unfamiliar surroundings. The events of the previous day crashed back into his consciousness. Rebecca's betrayal, the poisoning, Joey's revelations. He straightened in his chair, wincing as his neck protested the awkward sleeping position, and looked toward Lily's bed. "What who?" he saw stopped his heart. Lily's eyes were open. She was looking at Joey, who sat beside her, talking in hushed tones. A nurse stood nearby, adjusting monitors and making notes on a tablet, a smile playing at her lips. "Lily?" Robert whispered, afraid that speaking too loudly might shatter this miracle. His daughter turned toward him, her movements slow but unmistakably deliberate. Her eyes, Caroline's eyes, focused on his face, recognition dawning. "Dad?" She rasped, the single word carrying more emotion than any speech could convey. Robert was at her side in an instant, tears flowing freely down his face as he took her hand. "Oh God, Lily, you're back, you're really back." Dr. Spencer entered the room, alerted by the nurse's page, and paused in the doorway at the scene before him. Professional caution warred with genuine amazement on his face as he approached the bed. "Well, this is unexpected," he said, recovering his composure. "Welcome back, Lily." The next few hours passed in a whirlwind of medical assessments. Lily drifted in and out of consciousness, but each time she woke, she seemed more present, more herself. She couldn't speak much, her throat raw from intubation and her strength depleted, but her eyes communicated volumes, following conversations and responding to questions with nods or hand squeezes. By mid-morning, A neurologist had completed preliminary tests and reported cautious optimism. Her responses are remarkably good, considering what her system has been through, she explained to Robert. We're still detecting traces of the compounds, but her liver function is strong, which is helping with clearance. What about long-term effects? Robert asked, the question he'd been dreading. It's too early to say definitively, the neurologist replied honestly, but the fact that she's recognizing faces, responding appropriately to stimuli, and initiating communication are all extremely positive indicators. I wouldn't rule out a full recovery. As medical staff cycled through the room, Joey remained in his corner, occasionally stepping into the hallway when procedures required privacy. Robert noticed how Lily's eyes tracked the boy whenever he moved, how she seemed most at ease when he was nearby. During a brief lull in the medical interventions, Robert approached Joey. You should go get some breakfast, he suggested. The hospital cafeteria is decent and it's on me. Joey hesitated, glancing toward Lily, who had dozed off again. She'll still be here when you get back, Robert assured him, reaching for his wallet. And you need to keep your strength up. Joey nodded reluctantly, accepting the $20 bill Robert pressed into his hand. I won't be long. After Joey left, Robert returned to Lily's side, studying his daughter's face as she slept. The grey pallor had receded somewhat, and her breathing was steady and natural. It seemed impossible that just 12 hours earlier, doctors had been warning him to prepare for the worst. Mr. Blackwood? A hospital administrator appeared in the doorway, accompanied by two serious-looking men in suits. These gentlemen are from the Boston Police Department. They need to speak with you regarding the situation with your wife and Dr. Richardson. Robert nodded grimly, stepping into the hallway to avoid disturbing Lily. What's the status? We've apprehended Dr. Richardson at his residence, the older detective reported. He was attempting to leave town. As for Mrs. Blackwood, we've issued an APB, but she hasn't been located yet. What do you mean she hasn't been located? Robert demanded, keeping his voice low but intense. She has access to our properties. Our accounts. Her access has been frozen per your legal team's instructions, the detective assured him. And we have officers monitoring all Blackwood properties. She can't get far. Robert wasn't convinced. Rebecca was resourceful and had always maintained a mysterious independence. Separate friends, separate accounts he'd never questioned. Now he wondered what else she'd been hiding during their marriage. We need to take formal statements from you, and eventually from your daughter when she's able, the detective continued. And the boy, Joey Fletcher, his testimony will be crucial. Not today, Robert said firmly. My daughter just woke up from what you now know was an induced coma. She needs rest, not police interviews. The detectives exchanged glances. We understand, but time is critical in building a case. Mrs. Blackwood has already transferred significant funds offshore, according to your financial team. I don't care about the money, Robert snapped, though the businessman in him flinched at the admission. I care about my daughter's recovery and safety. You can have statements tomorrow, not before. After some negotiation, the detectives agreed to return the following day and departed, leaving Robert with the hospital administrator, who shifted uncomfortably. There's something else, she said, lowering her voice. The press has gotten a wind of the situation. We've increased security on this floor, but reporters are gathering outside the hospital, given your profile. Robert closed his eyes briefly. The last thing Lily needed was media attention, but he knew from experience that there was no avoiding it. His PR team would need to craft a statement, control the narrative before speculation ran wild. Thank you for the warning, he said. I'll handle it. When Joey returned from the cafeteria, Robert was on his phone, issuing clipped instructions to his security team. Joey slipped quietly into Lily's room, finding her awake and attempting to sip water through a straw held by a nurse. Hey, he said softly, approaching the bed. Lily's face brightened visibly. She set down the water cup with a shaky hand and gestured for him to come closer. You saved me, she whispered, her voice stronger than before, though still hoarse. Joey shrugged, embarrassed. Oh, your dad did most of the work. Lily shook her head stubbornly. You figured it out, no one else did. The nurse finished adjusting Lily's pillows and left them alone, promising to return soon with medication. Joey settled into the chair beside the bed, suddenly uncertain what to say now that Lily was awake and talking. How much do you remember? He asked finally. Lily's brow furrowed. Pieces. Being tired all the time. The garden. You teaching me soccer. A shadow crossed her face. Rebecca giving me those awful drinks. After that, just darkness. Voices sometimes, but they seemed far away. She hesitated. I heard you, I think, talking about the koi fish. Joey nodded, swallowing past the lump in his throat. I wanted to give you something familiar to hold onto. A comfortable silence settled between them, broken only by the muted beeping of monitors and the distant sounds of hospital activity. Lily seemed content just to have Joey nearby, and he felt oddly protective, unwilling to leave her side despite his rumpled clothes and growing exhaustion. Robert returned, tucking his phone away with a weary sigh. The press is having a field day, he reported, attempting a smile for Lily's benefit. But don't worry about that now. How are you feeling, sweetheart? Better, Lily replied, reaching for her father's hand. Not so foggy anymore. Robert's composure cracked slightly at her touch. I'm so sorry, Lily. I should have known something was wrong. I should have protected you better. It's not your fault, Dad, Lily insisted, wisdom beyond her 13 years evident in her gaze. She fooled everyone. Not everyone, Robert said, glancing at Joey with undisguised gratitude. Before the conversation could continue, Dr. Spencer entered with several colleagues, apologizing for the interruption, but insisting on additional neurological tests while Lily was alert. Reluctantly, Robert and Joey stepped into the hallway to give the medical team space. You look exhausted, Robert observed, studying Joey's pale face and shadowed eyes. Why don't you go home? Get some real rest. I can send a car for you later. Joey shook his head stubbornly. I want to stay. Robert recognized the same determination he'd seen the day before, the unwavering loyalty that had brought Joey to the hospital in the first place. At least let me arrange for some clean clothes and a proper meal, he compromised, and you should call your parents again. Joey nodded agreement to these reasonable requests. While Robert made arrangements, Joey updated his parents, who were both relieved to hear about Lily's improvement and increasingly curious about their son's involvement in the Blackwood family crisis. Joey kept his explanation vague, promising details when he returned home. By early afternoon, Lily had completed another round of tests, each showing remarkable improvement. She managed a few bites of hospital food, making faces that drew laughter from both Joey and Robert, and was allowed to sit up in bed for short periods. The doctors say I might be able to go home in a week if I keep improving, she told Joey excitedly during a quiet moment. Not that I'm in a hurry to go back to that house. Your dad will find a new place, Joey assured her, somewhere without those memories. Lily nodded thoughtfully. Maybe somewhere with a garden and a soccer field, she added with a small smile. The peaceful moment was interrupted by a commotion in the hallway, raised voices, hurried footsteps. Robert, who had stepped out to take a call, burst back into the room, his face taut with alarm. Rebecca's been spotted in the hospital, he reported tersely. Security is searching the building, but I want additional guards here immediately. Fear flickered across Lily's face. She's coming for me. No one's getting near you, Robert promised, already on his phone, summoning his private security team. Joey, stay with Lily. I'm going to coordinate with hospital security. As Robert left, Joey moved closer to Lily's bed, instinctively positioning himself between her and the door. Don't worry, he said with more confidence than he felt. Your dad won't let anything happen to you. Lily reached for his hand, her fingers cold with anxiety. What if she tries to finish what she started? What if— She won't, Joey interrupted firmly. There are cameras everywhere, guards at every entrance. She'd be crazy to try anything. But as the words left his mouth, Joey remembered the calculating look in Rebecca's eyes, the cold determination as she prepared to poison Lily. Crazy didn't seem like the right word for Rebecca Blackwood. Dangerous was more accurate. Minutes ticked by with excruciating slowness. Hospital security implemented a lockdown protocol for the VIP wing, checking the ID of every staff member entering the floor. Robert returned briefly to confirm that his security team was in position throughout the hospital, working alongside police who had arrived in response to the potential threat. "They'll find her," he assured them, though tension lined his face. "And this time, she won't escape justice." As evening approached, the heightened security continued, but no sign of Rebecca had been found. Some officers speculated that she might have fled upon realizing the hospital was on alert, while others suggested the sighting might have been mistaken. Lily, exhausted by the day's events and medical procedures, eventually drifted into sleep despite her anxiety. Joey maintained his vigil beside her bed, fighting his own fatigue as shadows lengthened across the room. "You should rest too," Robert told him quietly. "I'm not leaving her side, and there are armed guards outside the door." Joey nodded reluctantly, settling into the recliner that had served as his bed the night before. Despite his determination to stay awake, exhaustion soon claimed him, pulling him into a deep sleep. He awoke with a start, unsure what had disturbed him. The room was dim, illuminated only by the muted glow of monitors and a small lamp near Lily's bed. Robert dozed in his chair, his head at an uncomfortable angle. Something felt wrong. Joey blinked, trying to orient himself in the shadowy room. A figure stood near Lily's IV pole, adjusting something on the line. A nurse, Joey assumed, until he noticed the designer shoes visible beneath the scrubs. "Hey!" he called out, bolting upright. The figure turned, and in the dim light, Rebecca, Blackwood's perfectly made-up face registered surprise, then contempt. "You again," she hissed, her hand still on Lily's IV port. "The little hero." Robert jerked awake, momentarily disoriented before comprehension dawned. "Rebecca," he growled, lunging from his chair. "Get away from my daughter." Rebecca stepped back, but not before Joey saw what she held, a syringe, its contents already emptied into Lily's IV line. Alarm surged through him as he recalled Dr. Richardson's words, "No detectable after 48 hours." "What did you do?" Robert demanded, reaching for the emergency call button. "What did you give her?" A cold smile curved Rebecca's lips. "Just finishing what we started. She wasn't supposed to wake up, Robert. This was meant to be a peaceful, natural departure. Tragic, but ultimately merciful. Now it will be messier, but the end result will be the same." Joey hit the call button repeatedly, then yanked at Lily's IV line, trying to disconnect it from the port in her arm. Lily stirred, disturbed by the commotion, her eyes fluttering open in confusion. "Dad?" she murmured. "Joey? What's happening?" Before anyone could respond, hospital security burst through the door, followed closely by police officers who had been stationed nearby. Rebecca was restrained despite her protests about rough treatment and claims of innocence. "Check her pockets," Joey instructed urgently. She injected something into Lily's IV. A syringe was indeed found in Rebecca's lab coat pocket, and Dr. Spencer, summoned by the emergency alert, immediately ordered a sample of Lily's blood for analysis. "I need to know what compound we're dealing with," he told the officers, restraining Rebecca. "Lives are at stake." Rebecca's composure finally cracked. "You think I'd tell you? After all this? She was supposed to die quietly, leaving everything to me as Robert's sole heir. Now, you've ruined everything." "Rebecca Blackwood, you're under arrest for attempted murder," an officer began, reading her rights as she struggled against their grip. "It's too late anyway," Rebecca spat, her elegant facade completely gone. "The compound is already in her system. Even if you identify it, there's no antidote. James made sure of that." As Rebecca was led away, still hurling threats and accusations, Dr. Spencer and his team worked frantically to address the new crisis. Lily's IV was removed and replaced at a different site. Blood samples were rushed to the lab, and monitoring equipment was adjusted to track any changes in her condition. "How are you feeling?" Dr. Spencer asked Lily, checking her pupils with a penlight. "The same, I think," she replied, her voice steadier than Joey would have expected given the chaos. "Should I feel different?" "Not necessarily," the doctor assured her. Whatever she administered might take time to act, or it might have been neutralized by your existing medications. Or she could have been bluffing, Robert suggested, holding Lily's hand tightly, trying to cause more pain even without the means to carry out her threat. Dr. Spencer nodded thoughtfully. Possible. We've sent officers to question Dr. Richardson specifically about this new compound. In the meantime, we'll monitor Lily closely and prepare countermeasures for any symptoms that develop. As the initial crisis response settled into watchful waiting, Joey found himself marveling at Lily's composure. Despite having just faced her would-be killer, she remained calm, even offering reassurance to her visibly shaken father. "It's over, Dad," she said softly. "They caught her. She can't hurt us anymore." Robert squeezed her hand, struggling to match her remarkable strength. "You're right, sweetheart. It's over." But as Joey watched the medical team preparing emergency medications and additional monitoring equipment, he wondered if Rebecca's final act of vengeance might yet claim its victim. Had they truly saved Lily only to lose her now? The night stretched endlessly as they waited for signs of the mystery compound's effects. Every fluctuation in vital signs brought doctors rushing to Lily's bedside. Every lab result was scrutinized for changes. Yet as dawn approached, Lily remained stable, tired but alert, showing no signs of deterioration. Finally, as morning light filtered through the windows, Dr. Spencer entered with an expression of cautious relief. "Good news," he announced. "We've isolated what appears to be the compound Rebecca administered. It's a paralytic agent, similar to what Dr. Richardson had been using previously." "Is it dangerous?" Robert asked, the fear evident in his voice. "It could have been at a higher dose or in a patient not already receiving counteractive agents," Dr. Spencer explained. "But the blood levels are low, and more importantly, Lily's been on a regimen specifically designed to flush toxins since yesterday. The compound appears to be clearing her system without causing the intended effect." "So she failed," Joey said, the relief making him lightheaded. "It appears so," Dr. Spencer confirmed. "We'll continue monitoring closely, but I believe the immediate danger has passed." As the doctor continued explaining the technical details to Robert, Joey caught Lily's eye. She smiled, a real smile, not the weak approximation she'd managed earlier, and mouthed two words: "We won." And looking at her, growing stronger by the hour, despite everything Rebecca and Dr. Richardson had done, Joey knew she was right. They had won. Not just against the immediate threat, but against the calculated long-term evil that had nearly claimed Lily's life. The battle was over. Now the healing could truly begin. 3 months later, the August sun bathed Cambridge in golden light as Joey dribbled a soccer ball across the expansive lawn. The new Blackwood estate, a historic Victorian mansion overlooking the Charles River, had become a second home to him over the summer. The property's sprawling grounds provided ample space for the impromptu soccer lessons that had become a staple of Lily's recovery regimen. "Pass it here," Lily called, her voice strong and confident as she positioned herself for a shot on the makeshift goal. Joey sent the ball her way with a precise touch, grinning as Lily trapped it smoothly before launching it past the bewildered family gardener who had been recruited as goalkeeper. "Nice one," Joey cheered, high-fiving Lily as she jogged back to midfield. "Your footwork's getting better than mine." Lily laughed, pushing her blonde hair from her flushed face. "Hardly, but I'm not falling over anymore, which is progress." The transformation in Lily over the summer had been remarkable. The pale, fragile girl from the hospital had blossomed into an energetic teenager whose determination had impressed even her physical therapists. While she still tired more easily than before her ordeal, her doctors were amazed by her recovery. "Should we take a break?" Joey suggested, noticing Lily's slight breathlessness. "Your dad wanted us back for lunch anyway." Lily nodded, retrieving the ball and thanking the gardener, who returned to his interrupted rose pruning with good-natured relief. They made their way toward the house, following a stone path that wound through meticulously landscaped gardens, reminiscent of the ones behind the Beacon Hill mansion, but with Lily's personal touches evident in the wildflower sections and butterfly bushes. "Hard to believe school starts next week," Joey commented, as they paused by a small koi pond, home to Emperor, Sunset, and Freckles, who had been carefully relocated from the old garden. "Are you nervous about 8th grade?" Lily asked, kneeling to sprinkle food pellets into the water. Joey shrugged. "Not really. The academics will be challenging, but I'm looking forward to it. What about you, ready for your first day at Boston Latin?" Lily's acceptance to Joey's school had been a surprise orchestrated by Robert, who had pulled strings to secure a mid-year transfer once Lily's recovery had progressed sufficiently. The decision to enroll her in regular school, rather than continue with private tutoring, had been partly therapeutic, a way to help Lily build a normal teenage life after months of isolation and trauma. "I'm terrified," Lily admitted, watching the koi dart beneath lily pads. "What if I can't keep up? What if everyone thinks I'm weird because of everything that happened?" "You'll be fine," Joey assured her. "The teachers are tough but fair, and most kids are too wrapped up in their own drama to worry about yours. Besides, you've got me to show you around." Lily smiled gratefully. "I still can't believe Dad arranged for us to have the same schedule. He's gone full helicopter parent since the hospital." "Can you blame him?" Joey asked gently. Lily shook her head. "No, and honestly, I don't mind. It's nice having him actually present, not just physically, but emotionally too." They continued toward the house, where Robert could be seen on the terrace, engaged in what appeared to be a serious phone conversation. The past months had changed him as much as they had Lily, his workaholic tendencies tempered by a new appreciation for time with his daughter. "Joey," Robert called, ending his call as they approached. "Perfect timing. I've just been speaking with your father. Great news. The contractor approved his application. He starts the apprenticeship program next month." Joey's face lit up. The opportunity for his father to train as an electrical contractor had emerged through Robert's connections, offering a path out of the precarious odd jobs that had barely sustained their family since his workplace injury. "That's awesome. Did you tell him about the apartment too?" Robert nodded, smiling at Joey's enthusiasm. "All arranged. The lease starts September 1st, so your family can move in this weekend. It's just a 10-minute walk from the school, which should make your commute much easier." The apartment, a spacious 3-bedroom in a well-maintained building owned by one of Robert's subsidiary companies, represented a fresh start for the Fletcher family. Offered at a reduced rent that Joey's parents could afford on their improving income, it provided stability they hadn't known in years. "I can't thank you enough," Joey began, but Robert waved him off. "Please, Joey. After what you did for Lily." "What you did for our family, this is nothing." Lily squeezed Joey's arm supportively. Both knew that Robert's generosity stemmed not just from gratitude, but from a genuine desire to help. In the weeks following Lily's recovery, Robert had delved into Joey's background, discovered the family's struggles, and quietly set about creating opportunities rather than simply offering charity. "Lunch is ready," announced Mrs. Winters, the housekeeper, from the terrace doorway, "and Ms. Maria has arrived as well." Joey's mother emerged onto the terrace, dressed in scrubs from her new position at Massachusetts General's Administrative Office, another opportunity that had materialized through Robert's influence, but that she had earned through her own qualifications and experience. "Mom, Dad got the apprenticeship," Joey called, bounding up the steps to hug her. Maria Fletcher smiled warmly. "I just heard. Your father's over the moon, already talking about what tools he'll need." She turned to Robert. "I can't thank you enough for the recommendation. This changes everything for him." "James Fletcher is exactly the kind of person the program needs," Robert replied sincerely. "Experienced, hardworking, eager to learn new skills." The recommendation was easy to make. As they settled around the table for lunch, the conversation flowed easily between updates on Rebecca and Dr. Richardson's pending trial, Lily's school, preparations, and the Fletcher family's upcoming move. "The prosecutors are confident," Robert explained, responding to Maria's question about the case. "The evidence is overwhelming, not just from Lily's poisoning, but from at least 2 other patients they've identified who died under suspicious circumstances while under Richardson's care." "Will Lily need to testify?" Maria asked, her nursing background giving her particular insight into the medical aspects of the case. They don't think so, Robert replied, glancing at his daughter with protective concern. Joey's testimony about what he overheard, combined with the physical evidence and Rebecca's attempted final attack at the hospital, should be sufficient. Lily had remained largely shielded from the legal proceedings, though she had given a deposition about her experiences with the health shakes and medication. The media frenzy had eventually subsided, replaced by occasional updates as the case progressed toward trial. After lunch, while Robert and Maria discussed the logistics of the upcoming move, Joey and Lily retreated to the music room, where Lily had recently resumed piano lessons. "Want to learn a duet?" she offered, patting the bench beside her. Joey laughed. "I can barely tell which key is which. You'd be better off teaching a cat." "Everyone starts somewhere," Lily insisted. "I'll show you the basics, and you can show me that rainbow kick again later." Joey relented, settling beside her on the bench as she patiently demonstrated finger positions for a simple melody. Her enthusiasm was contagious, and soon Joey found himself awkwardly but determinedly picking out notes. "Not bad for a first try," Lily encouraged. "You've got good rhythm from soccer. That helps with timing." "I'll stick to sports," Joey replied, good-naturedly. "But it's cool watching you play. You're really talented." Lily's expression turned thoughtful. "You know what I realized recently? When I was sick before the hospital, when Rebecca was first giving me those shakes, I stopped playing piano. It was too hard to concentrate and my fingers wouldn't cooperate. I thought I was just being lazy or going through a phase." "You couldn't have known what was happening," Joey said gently. "I know, but it makes me appreciate being able to play even more now." She ran her fingers lightly over the keys. "Every time I sit here, it feels like a victory over her. Like I'm reclaiming something she tried to take away." The maturity in Lily's perspective struck Joey anew. Despite her age and the trauma she'd endured, Lily had emerged not just surviving but growing, finding meaning and strength in her recovery that many adults would struggle to achieve. Their moment of reflection was interrupted by Robert, who appeared in the doorway with an expression of barely contained excitement. "I have a surprise for both of you," he announced. "Come to my study." They exchanged curious glances before following him down the hall to the wood-paneled room lined with books and technology. On Robert's desk sat 2 leather-bound folders, each with a name embossed in gold. "What is this?" Lily asked, picking up the folder with her name. "Open it," Robert urged, watching them expectantly. Inside each folder was an identical document, legal paperwork with complex terminology, but a clear title, the Blackwood Fletcher Scholarship. "Foundation. You're starting a scholarship?" Joey asked, scanning the document with growing confusion. "That's cool, but why are our names on it?" "Because it's your foundation," Robert explained, his voice thick with emotion. "Funded with an initial endowment of $10 million and designed to support children who demonstrate exceptional character and determination despite challenging circumstances." Lily looked up from the papers, her eyes wide. "You're putting us in charge of a foundation?" "Eventually, yes," Robert nodded. "For now, it will be professionally managed with input from both of you. But when you turn 18, you'll become full voting members of the board, with the authority to direct its activities." Joey stared at the document in disbelief. The Fletcher name alongside Blackwood on a multi-million-dollar foundation. It seemed impossible, yet the paperwork in his hands confirmed it. "But why?" he managed finally. Robert's expression softened. "Because what happened between you two, the friendship you built across such different backgrounds, the loyalty that ultimately saved Lily's life, that deserves to be honored and replicated. This foundation will identify young people with that same spirit and give them opportunities they might otherwise never receive." Lily embraced her father, tears shining in her eyes. "It's perfect, Dad. Thank you." Joey remained stunned, the magnitude of Robert's gesture slowly sinking in. This wasn't just a thank you, it was a legacy, a path forward that honored what had brought them together while creating something entirely new. "The first scholarships will be awarded next spring," Robert continued, his arm around Lily. "You'll both help review applications and select recipients. I thought it might give purpose to what you've been through, transforming a painful experience into something that helps others." I don't know what to say, Joey admitted. This is incredible. Robert clasped his shoulder warmly. You don't need to say anything, just use it well. That's all I ask. Later that evening, as Joey prepared to leave with his mother, Lily walked them to the front door. The setting sun cast long shadows across the driveway where Maria's used sedan, recently purchased with Robert's help, waited beside the Blackwood family's luxury vehicles. See you tomorrow for that history project? Lily confirmed, hugging Joey goodbye. Definitely, he agreed. I'll bring my notes from last year's class. Ms. Henderson recycles her assignments, so we'll have a head start. As Maria chatted briefly with Robert about final moving arrangements, Lily pulled Joey aside. I've been thinking, she said quietly, about everything that happened, how if you hadn't found me in the garden that day, if we hadn't become friends. Don't, Joey interrupted gently. We can't think about what might have happened. I know, Lily nodded, but I just wanted to say, you didn't just save my life, Joey. You gave me a real friend when I needed one most. Even before the hospital, even before you knew anything was wrong, that matters just as much. The simple sincerity of her words touched Joey deeply. You were my friend too, you know. When you showed up at that garden door every day excited to see me, no one had ever looked forward to my company like that before. Their conversation was interrupted by Maria calling that it was time to go. With a final wave, Joey followed his mother to the car, his mind already half planning tomorrow's history session with Lily. As they drove away from the Cambridge estate, Maria glanced at her son with a knowing smile. You've come a long way from throwing that ball over the garden wall. Joey laughed, watching the Blackwood house recede in the side mirror. Yeah, who would have thought a makeshift soccer ball would change so many lives? Back at the house, Lily stood on the front steps beside her father, waving until the Fletcher's car disappeared from view. The evening air carried the scent of late summer flowers and distant rain, promising change as September approached. They're good people, Robert observed, his arm around Lily's shoulders. The best, Lily agreed, leaning into her father's embrace. Together, they turned back toward their home. Not the cold, isolated mansion where Lily had once been held captive by circumstance and malice, but a warm, vibrant household gradually filling with friends, music, and genuine connection. In the garden, butterflies drifted lazily over the wildflowers Lily had planted, while in the pond, koi with names and personalities swam contentedly through clear waters. Inside, rooms once dominated by Rebecca's sterile perfection now reflected Lily's emerging tastes, colorful throw pillows, soccer trophies from summer camp, framed photos of Lily with Joey and their growing circle of friends. As father and daughter disappeared into the house, the setting sun illuminated the scene one last time before slipping below the horizon, not an ending, but a promise of brighter days ahead. The darkness that had nearly claimed Lily's life had been vanquished not by wealth or power, but by the simplest yet strongest of human connections: true friendship. In its place grew something rare and precious, a bond between two families, forged in crisis but destined to thrive in peace. And through the foundation